got to look into this Warhammer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Warhammer 40K. Don't get it mixed up. Don't do the fantasy. Fantasy's for nerds and virgins.
Okay.
Go 40K. That's for the cool guy.
Yeah.
Right?
40,000.
40,000. Warhammer 40,000.
Well, I
40K, whatever.
I've seen other people playing games that I was impressed with.
Mm-hmm.
That because they had to read things and this, and I'm like, wow, this is actually really thoughtful and interesting. But I've never really had the time. But I might take a look at it. Bob used to play it, right? So if she played it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it because it wraps up a lot of history with a lot of it's just a lot real world things just perverted to the max in the future setting. And it's done quite nicely.
See,
there are things about it that people don't understand in concept, like the God Emperor. He says there's to be no religion, right? Because our worship is emotion that goes into this extra plane of existence, and it creates an entirely different reality. So no more gods. However, he created his sons because having a genetic offspring created something other than something that he actually wanted. He didn't want sons, he wanted weapons. So he created these things called Primarchs, right? And for the souls of each one of these sons, he pulls out an old god that's no longer worshipped. And it's really cool.
Yeah. No, a lot of that is what else that's going to be incorporated, like, because it's even in this story too, believe it or not, that it's about predictive command systems. That's in Warhammer, and I'm wanting to do that also within Juan Valdez with the machine, that the character that was in there, where it's going to have predictive commands, and also I want to set up clerks who like usually optimize things. You know what I'm saying? Like in Warhammer, like don't even worry about going to a freaking clerk. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have the resources, or they don't freaking give a shit. You know what I mean? And then like V was talking about, like freaking the authority. They don't believe in anything. They don't believe in gods or anything of that nature.
Right.
So that's what, and it works out too, because it's like we were talking with Mike, and Mike said that he, it's cool to have the myths and everything, but leave the religious stuff out of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I think that's important. It makes it more accessible, and it makes it, I think, more. It makes it bigger, more universal. If you're coming down to like one particular mythology instead of just like tapping the rich tapestry of all of our subconscious images and ideas and stuff, the less specific you are, I think the more powerful you can be sometimes.
All right. And see, that's also in Mike off of the story, because freaking like that's what he was really about, and he merged it. He's basically depicted like the emergent of AI, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and what impressed me was that in the story, they needed to show him to people so he could make televisor calls like we're doing right now. So they're like, well, you can't talk to people. You're like a cubic mile of circuitry. It's like, well, it's just electrons. I can make the screen do anything I want. I can control it pixel by pixel. And sure enough, he can make a complete vision on a screen that's indistinguishable from reality, and that's exactly what we have now. Robert Heinlein saw that a long time ago, and I've kind of been waiting for this ever since I was 8 years old. Now I'm not sure if I like it, but there's some amazing stuff out of AI art.
Sorry, that just reminds me of the opening lines, the famous opening lines of the Twilight Zone. We control your TV, we control your...
No, that's the Outer Limits.
Control the vertical.
That's even better too, though. Like,
remember when you actually adjusted the horizontal and the vertical on your set?
Yeah.
You guys remember?
Yeah, we control the horizontal.
Sticking out at the back.
Done there, but...
Yep. Now, my question is, when it comes to Mike, though, what I think this depicts,
Wait,
it's what if the most effective revolutionary actor has no emotional stake in justice? You see what I mean? Because that's what Mike represents. You know what I'm saying? Like
I got so lost there for a second. You guys were all talking about directionals and things. I'm thinking like Kama Sutra. Wait, what's going on here? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Thinking about the Kama Sutra.
I got distracted. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, Mike represents to me like no human morality, intelligence without ethics. He doesn't care about ideologies. He only cares. He just wants to win.
And he cares about his friend Manny. You know, Manuel there, who was like, you know, it brought him out of his shell. And I think as I recall from the story, and I got to reread it, he just liked Manny, and for him it was a game at first. Oh, I'll do this, man. Can you do this? Sure. Can you do that? Sure. I've got a friend that can control the whole moon, you know, the entire colony kind of deal. At least the part that was owned by the Lunar Authority. I think there was like a Chinese Tycho base, or I forget now. It's so long since I read that. I have to reread it. But yeah, you know, so he was given the kind of upbringing in a sense, and of course he quickly adapted to the ideas of his friends. But really, he didn't really have any sense, like you're saying. He didn't have this overriding idea of justice or this or that. It was just like, I'm playing this game. This is cool. I can do this. I can do that.
Well, you know, Manolo, he tried to touch my sister.
Oh God!
You don't touch my sister.
Yeah.
Manolo, hey, who built this thing? Who built this? Me. That's who built this.
Well, I mean,
Manolo.
I tried to avoid that conversation back when the movie was out. You know what I mean? But I'm just gonna say it. I think he really liked his sister.
How you like my Scarface? Come on.
Well, that was. I mean, you got a little Cuban in you, I can tell.
Caribbean, my friend.
Well, with what I see from that book, I mean, it sounds like there's a libertarianism in it. And you can also do cyberpunk writing as well, and I don't know, maybe even military things that a military thinker would be more interested in stuff too. I don't know. It's just me though. And it's riddled with a lot of stuff like distrust for central power, which I'm really big against. I don't like big government. I like small government. And like there's tons of propaganda, like I mentioned before. And
there's something about small government that just makes sure your penis more girthier. It's just bigger, isn't it?
Well, I mean, small government is the way it's supposed to be here in this country. To be honest, like the way it is now, it's not the way it was meant to be.
Well, it gets back to the communication thing, and Mark had brought that up. We were talking earlier about when you have a vast empire. I remember something with the Spanish Empire, which was huge in its day, and sailing ships weren't that great, and they had a standard response. You know, they'd send a royal decree over to like the New World. It would get there like a year later, 8 months later, whatever, if it makes it, and they would get it, and they would send back a reply. Of course, we obey the king's command, but unfortunately it is impossible to comply. And that was the standard answer. You just couldn't direct things from a central location effectively. And I talked about how when Napoleon reorganized, actually it was the revolutionaries in France reorganized the government, they created districts that were centered in a place, and basically it was 1 day's ride from each location, and that's what determined the arrondissements or whatever they call them there. So in America, I think, and I read a couple of things about this, in the old days, it was small government because people were basically in these self-sufficient little enclaves. It was decided at the town level, city level. You couldn't like wire back to the capital or wire back to the federal government and say, what do we do? They didn't have wires. So people were expected to make decisions on the fly. They were like, if you were a military commander, you just decided to do this. And if you were like in a city or something and you had like a local issue, you dealt with it locally. And in that sense, you know, I've talked about government before, and there's a lot of like, you know, oh, don't vote, da da da. It's a mug's game and all that. But the thing is, here in my city, I've seen like city elections decided by like a couple hundred votes. I can go see the mayor whenever I want. I have access to the you know, the city council and stuff like that. So locally on a small scale, it seems to work pretty well. But once you start getting bigger, and especially once you can micromanage, I mean, we've got a thing around here. I don't know if you've got it in over in the UK there, but Mark, but we have these big department stores. And you'll go in there sometimes and it's amazingly cold or it's amazingly warm because the thermostat is set by corporate, whose headquarters in, you know, Dearborn, Pennsylvania or something. And they're setting the thermostats for stores all across the country. And they're very often completely out of whack with the local weather. And that's the problem of too big a government. That's the problem of centralization. Caesarism. There was a guy who was a great anarchist. He wrote a book called The Conquest of Bread, and he called it Caesarism. The idea that some guy, Caesar, whoever in Rome, can tell you what to do, just even though you live 2,000 miles away. Why should somebody who's not even there tell you what to do?
And Mark understands that completely because he's always making references to bread all the time. So I know that's what he's referring to.
Yeah.
Well, the Conquest of Bread had an interesting theory. It said that there were like so many million in the United Kingdom, in Great Britain. And he estimated that only a certain percentage of them actually worked. Now, how he defined work, I don't know. He said if instead everyone worked, instead of just like, you know, 10 or 20% of the population, as he estimated it, then there would be so much abundance that nobody would have to work more than a couple of hours a week. Mm-hmm. And we have plenty of everything. I mean, he was like an early aficionado of the whole idea of abundance.
And so it sounds like socialism too. Like I was thinking the beginnings of what eventually would become socialism in England.
Well, you know, it sounds like it was going in that direction, but really, I mean, we make fun of people who go to communes, but at the end of the day, that's what life is supposed to be like. That's what we all secretly want. That's what we all need in order to survive. Truthfully, at the end of the day.
That's what the communes hippie chicks had put out. Yeah, exactly. We all need that.
They need to start shaving their armpits, though. I have a problem with, like, I would have been cool with Madonna if she would have just shaved her armpits.
Dude, there is very little that I do with a woman's armpits.
Yeah, I know.
That's hairy.
Well, that was years ago. I wouldn't have anything to do with her now. You see that woman? She like, oh my God, dude.
I'll also point out that a sufficiently feminine woman doesn't really have to shave.
Okay.
I've known girls.
No, seriously, I like a hairy woman. Yeah.
And
that's fine with me.
Just beach fuzz. I'll tell tales out of school. My wife does not shave her legs, and she doesn't shave her armpits. She has a very light little down, hardly noticeable on her legs, and her armpit hair, again, it's very, very light. There's very, very little of it. It's very feminine. And again, I don't do things with armpits anyway, so I don't really care.
Well, it's funny how some opposite scenarios just happen, because I like a really, really hairy girl. However, my betrothed shaves twice a day, like just no hair anywhere other than her head.
Some girls like that. I mean, that's a choice, though. I mean, some people
is a choice.
Yeah, I know ancient Egyptian priests used to shave every other day.